Hey, how's it going again? Today I'll be showing you how to create a water base as well as a sky base, and on top of that I'm going to be showing you how to create a volcano base as well. And I will be showing you some other things like tips and tricks, how to build fast and efficient, things like that. But for now, let's go ahead and dive right into this and talk about how we're going to create this water base. Let's start off with the location. If you take a look on the map here, you can see that there's going to be this lake, and this can be found over here at the Free Pal Alliance entrance tower. There are going to be some requirements. You're obviously going to need the material, but most importantly, you will need a pal. The pal that I'm going to be using is going to help us glitch underneath the water so that we can build. The pal that I'm going to show you is a purple deer that I believe is called Eichthai deer. I could be wrong, and I'll be completely real and honest with you. I'm not too sure how to pronounce most of the pal names. Anyways, let's talk about how we can get underneath the water. What we're going to need is a mount like I just mentioned, and we're going to need to craft the saddle so that we can get on top. We're going to jump straight into the water, then hold F so that we can let go, or whichever button it is for you on console. Next, what I suggest is that you create a marker on the map so that you kind of have an idea of where it is dead center. This way you can line up your base or your foundation and almost make it perfect. And as I mentioned, we want to build a foundation, create a wall so that we kind of box ourselves in right here. We want to build all the way up. This way we can make a steady foundation here, and if anything were to happen, let's say a pal glitches underneath the map if you do get raided, which by the way, this spot is pretty good on not getting raided as much. But anyways, as I mentioned, there might be a pal that can actually glitch underneath the map and destroy the whole foundation. So try to make it really strong and durable. For example, you can build this underneath portion here with either stone or metal. If you can, definitely try to use metal. And definitely do not use wood, because if anything were to happen, let's say a flame type comes by and throws down some heavy flames on top of your wood, yeah, it's definitely going to burn up everything almost instantly. With that information to the side, you can go towards the very top here, build a roof so that it's completely covered, and build a pal box. If you want to extend the roofs further, you do need to do something a bit different here, and we're going to go over that. If you're wondering, can you spawn down your pals easily? You definitely can, and they can navigate this area easily. What we're going to do now is go down below and build a bunch of foundation like so. This right here is going to help you extend out your rooftops quite a lot. Again, the only way to get down below is by using this mount. You could possibly use another one. If you do have a different mount that works, let me know down below. But once you're here, you can go ahead and start building that foundation. You do not need to build any walls, just build the foundation as far as you possibly can. And at this point, you can go towards the very top, build out your rooftops, extend it out as far as you possibly can. And the reason why this is happening is because of the foundation down below. As you have noticed at the start there, I could only place down about 3. And with this, I can extend it out to at least 5 tiles. Or floors, whatever, right? It's more of like a large tile to me. But what we're going to do now is talk about electricity. Can you power your whole entire area with electricity on this base? It might seem like an obvious answer, you definitely can, but what I like to do to make it look a bit different is build a foundation underneath and locate the electricity technology and place that sucker where the foundation is. And now you can power your whole entire base underneath. And if you're wondering, can your pal actually, charge it up? Absolutely. What I suggest is leaving the top portion open like a square patch of water, and this way you leave that electricity technology right underneath it. An example can be found on the right where I have some patches of water opened up. And if you're wondering how I was able to stack a statue on top of the water fountain, I'll be showing you how to do that as well. But as I just mentioned, we are going to drop down below, and all you need to do is build that foundation, as I mentioned, create the electricity technology, and right there you can charge up everything. We are now going to move on and talk about a volcano base. What you will need to do is something a bit different here. We're not going to use our mount to dive right into the flames or the lava pit. That would be terrible. What we are going to do instead this time is actually grip on the wall with our pal outside of its sphere. You are going to then hit 4 or whichever key or button it is for you to open up the menu. You are going to choose the pet option. Hold down the F key and mount on top of your pal, and then at this point you can travel around and do what you gotta do. What we are going to do is head straight towards Lava Pit, and as you can tell, I have a structure that's already built. And as you can also see, I've built up something quite similar to the water base, and that's pretty much what you're going to do. What you may notice is that when you do go underneath, there might be a pal, there might be a merchant. These are just some examples of what you can expect down below. For this instance, there's going to be a pal, and I'll go ahead and capture it, why not? So as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, when it comes down to this base, it's going to be quite similar to the water base. But as you will build up, you will notice that there's no way to get to the top. It's almost like a barrier. And if you do build to the top, do not worry, you're not going to take any damage from the lava. Just, build as you would and build some floors and then build a wall and all that good stuff. But how do you get back inside the map? You're probably wondering. You can just use the same exact glitch as before. And at this point, you can go ahead and place down your pal box on top of the foundation or the floor, and yeah, you're good to go. We are now going to talk about how to stack items or create floating objects. This right here is something I definitely recommend that you learn because you can create some really unique pieces by combining them together. For example, at the start of the video, I decided to combine a statue and also combined a water fountain together to create something unique and different. And how do you do this? Well, you can use any of these objects really, but what I recommend is the iron stool. You can use a storage box. You can use all sorts of things like that. You're going to stack these on top of each other like so, and you're going to do this until you have it at least a decent height. What we're going to do now is then grab the object that we want to float. For example, I'll be using the water fountain. I can place this on top of the wooden stool, or the iron stool I should say. Either or will work. Once you do place it on top, you can then create that object and delete the bottom ones. And at this point, you should notice the water fountain is floating. What I suggest you do is create an object underneath, and then again, you can just kind of stack these objects and just kind of create a unique piece. And speaking of creating something unique, if you guys did not know, you can actually stack, I believe someone called it a pizza box stack of some sort. Anyways, what we're going to do here is talk about a way to stack your berry plantations on top of each other and almost create a pizza box stack. We are going to be using this right here, a wooden stool. You're going to head towards the food, and we're going to place down a berry plantation right on top. And at first it might seem a bit difficult, but if you jump, you should be able to place it down. And you can do this for the rest of the plantation as well, but you will need to delete the bottom item. Also, just note that you can use any plantation if you wish. And what you can tell right there is that the pal was trying to help me create the item there. Do not allow your pal to do that. Instead, completely remove your pal, then head over towards the plantation. Do not build it all the way, just leave it as it is. Next, we're going to open up the build menu, and we're going to create this tire object and place it directly down below underneath the berry plantation. You are going to build that all the way. And at this point, you can then build the rest, and you can just kind of stack it as much as you want. And yes, your pal can absolutely use both of these. If you have a bunch, they can just craft it and just makes it nice and compacted. And for those that may have skipped over that information from earlier, yes, you can use any plantation. Just literally do the same exact method and stack it. What I'm interested in is, what are your plans with this? Are you going to try something completely different? If you do have any other ideas, comment down below. But with that being said, let's move on and talk about the last and final thing. Let's talk about how to create a sky base. What I suggest is that you find a land that's pretty flat and without any bumps or curves or anything like that, because if you do, it's going to cause some issues along the way. Now, with that out of the way, you also want to kind of take this in consideration as well. If there's any rock or ores nearby, just try to avoid that as well. What we're going to do is create a basic box like so, and do this all the way up. And also, to avoid any issues in the future, avoid using wood, because if you do, that's an easy material that will just, destroy your base within seconds. especially if a pal comes by and for whatever reason attacks it. So yeah, definitely do not use wood, instead use either stone or metal. And as you are building up, I definitely recommend that you go towards the top, take a break, and then continue building. If your stamina is pretty high, you could probably just grip on the wall and place down the walls as you wish, and you could just kind of, you know, stick there like a spider. Anyways, as you can tell right there, the tower is pretty high up, and I'm going to go directly down below and build out my foundation similar to the water base. While you're building out your foundation, make sure that you destroy anything that's in your path. If it's a pal, take it out, or if it's an ore or stone, whatever it is, just completely remove it. If you happen to skip past the water-based tutorial, I do want to explain what we're doing here because it will make a lot of sense. We are building out a foundation this way so that we can build out our rooftop on the very top, because right now we cannot build it or extend it out that far. For whatever reason, the more foundation you have, it extends it out and allows you to build, you know, this way you can actually build a sky base and you can chill up in the air and just do whatever you got to do, right? I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, give this video a thumbs up. If you are, you know, stopping by the channel consistently and you have yet to subscribe, do that now. Turn those notifications on, and I'll see you all in the next video.